The crystal glasses shimmered in the chandelier's glow, reflecting the festive elegance of the Metropole Restaurant's banquet hall. The 10th wedding anniversary of the Sokolov family promised to be the event of the year among their circle. About 50 guests had gathered to celebrate what everyone considered a model marriage. Marina sat in a champagne-colored dress, her dark hair styled in an exquisite updo, a mysterious smile playing on her lips. Beside her, Denis, in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, stood with a glass in hand. "Dear guests, thank you for sharing this evening with us," he began, and the room fell silent in anticipation of a heartfelt toast. Marina lifted her eyes to her husband, and something in her gaze made him falter for a moment. 10 years is a lifetime, and I must confess, he paused theatrically, scanning the crowd. "You've disgusted me since our first night." The glass in his mother-in-law's hand trembled, red wine spilling onto the pristine white tablecloth like blood. Someone gasped. Another let out a nervous laugh, assuming it was a bad joke. Marina's best friend, Katia, seated at a nearby table, clutched her napkin so tightly her knuckles turned white. "Denis, what the hell are you saying?" hissed his business partner, Maxim, tugging at his jacket sleeve. But Denis stood swaying, a wild glint in his eyes, clearly reveling in the shock he'd caused. Yes, exactly. For 10 years, I've endured this bland chicken, pretending to be a loving husband. But tonight, on our anniversary, I want to be honest. Marina, he didn't finish. Marina rose slowly, smoothing the folds of her dress, and to everyone's astonishment, she smiled. Not a single muscle on her face twitched as she raised her hand and nodded to the event host standing by the equipment. "Play it," she said calmly. The lights dimmed, and on a large screen set up for displaying wedding photos, an image flickered. Denis froze by the table, his glass slipping from his hand and shattering on the parquet floor with a melodic chime that, in the sudden silence, sounded like a funeral bell. "What is this, Marina? What the hell?" His voice wavered, losing all its bravado. The screen displayed a title, 10 Years of Happiness, in gold letters on a black background, followed by the soft melody of their wedding dance. The first frame showed a young couple, Marina in a white gown, Denis in a sharp suit, twirling in dance. Guests began whispering, confused. "It's their wedding," murmured someone's aunt in a raspberry dress. "They were so beautiful," sighed her neighbor. But Marina stood motionless, arms crossed, strange sparks dancing in her eyes. A week before the event, Marina had come home earlier than usual, plagued by a headache since morning. She'd taken the day off, planning to spend it in bed. The house was quiet. Denis was at work, their daughter Sophia at school. Marina went to the bedroom, kicked off her shoes, and was about to lie down when she noticed Denis's phone on the nightstand. Strange, he never forgets it, she thought, picking it up. The screen lit up, revealing an unread message. "Kitten, you coming tonight? I got that lingerie you like." Zoxo. Marina's heart skipped a beat. She knew the password, their daughter's birth date. Denis never changed it. With trembling fingers, she unlocked the phone and opened the conversation. What she saw made her sink onto the bed. Months of text with some woman named Alina. Photos that left no doubt about their relationship. And worst of all, discussions of a future that excluded both her and Sophia. "Marina, are you crying?" Katia looked worriedly at her friend across the table at a cafe the next day. Marina lifted her tear-streaked face. "Katia, he's been with someone else for 6 months, maybe more." Katia gasped, grabbing her friend's hand. "No way, Denis. But you've got your anniversary next week." Marina gave a bitter smile. 10 years. 10 years I was a fool. You know what's worst? They're planning how he'll divorce me after the anniversary. Something about it being better for splitting assets. Kadia's face flushed with anger. Marina, you can't just take this. We need to know, Marina interrupted, a strange glint in her eyes. I'm not going to make a scene. I have a better plan. Remember Volodya Kromsky, my acquaintance? He's a private investigator. I've already called him. Kadia raised an eyebrow, surprised. And what are you going to do? Marina smiled cryptically. I'm going to give him an anniversary he'll never forget. And so will everyone else. Vladimir Kromsky, a former cop turned private investigator, listened to Marina attentively, jotting notes in his pad. So, you need proof of infidelity for court, he clarified. Not just that. Marina leaned forward. I want everything. Where they meet, what they talk about, what they plan. I want to know about his past, how we met, how he courted me. Everything you can find. Kromsky tapped his pen thoughtfully. That won't be cheap. Money's not an issue, Marina snapped. I have personal savings he doesn't control. The detective nodded. All right, give me 3 days. But why the past? It's not needed for a divorce. Marina stood, smoothing her skirt. It's for something else. Just do your job well. At the door, she turned. And one more thing. I want you at our anniversary as a guest. I'll introduce you as a distant cousin. Kromsky raised an eyebrow, but agreed. In the days that followed, Marina played the role of a loving wife with the skill of a seasoned actress. Denis, honey, I booked the Metropole for our anniversary, she cooed over dinner. At least 50 people are coming. I want everyone to see how happy we are. Denis nodded absently, eyes on his phone. Sure, dear, whatever you say. I hired a videographer to make a film about our family, all our photos and videos from the past 10 years. Denis grimaced. Why all the mushy stuff? Oh, come on, Denis. Marina placed her hand on his, and he flinched slightly. It's such a milestone. I want Sophia to look back and be proud of her parents. At the mention of their daughter, Denis softened. Fine, do what you want. Just tell me how much it'll cost. Marina smiled. Don't worry, I'm covering it all. Consider it my anniversary gift to us. Mom, why are you crying? Sophia peeked in her mother's room that evening. Marina quickly wiped her tears. It's from joy, sweetheart. We got a big celebration coming up. The girl climbed onto her mother's bed. Does Dad love you? The simple question hit like a slap. Of course, honey. Marina hugged her daughter, hiding her face in her hair. And you, don't you love him? Sophia pressed. I loved him very much, Marina answered honestly. The girl pondered. Loved? What about now? Marina hugged her tighter. Now, I love you more than anything in the world. Sophia sighed contentedly. I love you too, Mommy. But Dad's been weird lately. He doesn't read me bedtime stories anymore. Marina stroked her daughter's head. He's just busy with work, sweetheart. But things will change soon, I promise. Kromsky didn't disappoint. 3 days later, he delivered a thick folder. Your husband wasn't exactly discreet, he said, laying out photos. Meets with this Alina Petrovskaya 3 times a week. She works in his department, 28, unmarried. Marina studied the pictures. A young blonde with a doll-like face clinging to her husband outside a hotel. And the past, she asked. Kromsky pulled out another folder. That was trickier, but I found something interesting. 10 years ago, your husband was drowning in debt after a failed business venture. Then, suddenly, he married the daughter of a company owner, and his debts vanished. Marina nodded. I figured as much. Anything else? There's a recording, he said, handing her a flash drive. My contact worked at the club where your husband had his bachelor party. They filmed for their archives, and there's an interesting conversation. Listen to it at home. Also, I have access to cameras at the hotel where they meet. If you need fresh recordings, Marina stood. I do. Especially conversations, what he says about me, about our family. Kromsky nodded. Understood. It'll be ready for the anniversary. At home, Marina locked herself in the study and plugged in the flash drive. The screen showed a dimly lit nightclub, the audio clear despite the poor video quality. Denis, visibly drunk, sat in a VIP area with friends. "So, Den, ready for married life?" Maxim laughed. "What choice do I have?" Denis downed a shot. "Her dad promised me the deputy director spot if I marry her. Plus, they'll clear my debts." "But she's cute, right?" Someone chimed in. "Bland," Denis sneered. "Like Jell-O. No passion, no fire. But that's better. She won't pry into where I am or who I'm with." His friends roared with laughter. "Just gotta play the loving husband for a bit," Denis continued. "Maybe in a year or two, I'll get a mistress for some real fun." Marina stopped the recording, her hands shaking with rage and pain. It had all been a lie from the start. Preparations for the anniversary were in full swing. Marina met with organizers, discussing menus, decor, and music. "I want a big screen," she told the restaurant manager. "We're showing a film about our family." "Of course, Mrs. Sokolova. It'll be perfect," he assured her. Meanwhile, she worked on the film with a videographer she'd paid triple to keep quiet. "It's a surprise for my husband," she explained. The young man nodded, enthusiastically editing the footage. "It's turning out really dramatic." Marina smirked. "That's exactly what I'm going for." 2 days before the event, Denis suddenly showed interest. "Marina, maybe we don't need such a big deal? It's a family occasion." Marina looked at him innocently. "But, honey, it's all paid for. The guests are invited. Your parents are even coming from Sochi." Denis frowned. "My parents? Why do you call them?" "Why? It's 10 years for their son and daughter-in-law." They were thrilled on the phone. Denis muttered a curse under his breath and left the room. Marina overheard him on the phone. "Alina, Saturday's no good. She's throwing a party for half the city." "Yeah, I know I promised. Just hang on, kitten. After this circus, I'll deal with the divorce." Katia came over to help pick a dress. "Marina, are you sure? Maybe just file for divorce," she asked, sorting through outfits. "No," Marina said, trying on the champagne dress. "He's humiliated me for 10 years. Thought I was a fool. Now everyone will know the truth. As for Sophia, I'll send her my parents after the formal part. She doesn't need to see this." Katia sighed. "You've gotten so tough." Marina looked at her reflection. "You know, Katia, I always thought love meant forgiving everything, enduring, waiting, hoping. But it turns out love is also about respecting yourself first." The morning of the anniversary was unusually sunny for October. Marina woke early. Denis was still sprawled across the bed, asleep. She looked at her husband, searching for a shred of regret, but felt only emptiness. "Happy anniversary, dear," she whispered, leaving the bedroom. In the kitchen, Sophia, dressed in a festive outfit, waited. "Mommy, I'm so excited. It's such a big day." Marina hugged her daughter. "Yes, sweetheart, a very big day. After lunch, you'll go to Grandma and Grandpa's, okay? The grown-up part will be boring." Sophia pouted. "But I want to see your movie." "You'll watch it when you're older," Marina said, kissing her forehead. "Some things kids shouldn't see." At the salon, Marina was greeted like royalty. "Mrs. Sokolova, you're stunning today," chirped the stylist, arranging her hair. "Your husband won't be able to resist." Marina smiled mysteriously at her reflection, hoping neither he nor anyone else could. Her phone buzzed in her purse. A message from Kromsky. "All set. The latest recording from this morning is particularly good. See you tonight." Marina deleted the message and leaned back in the chair. A few hours remained until showtime. Denis appeared in the kitchen near noon, disheveled and grumpy. "Marina, where's my tux?" he called. "In the closet, where it always is," she replied from the bathroom. "And don't forget the cufflinks I gave you for our 5th anniversary." Denis grumbled, but went to get dressed. An hour later, he emerged into the living room where Marina waited. How do I look? He asked, adjusting his tie. Perfect. Marina stood, showing off her dress. Ready for our celebration? Denis gave her an appraising glance. You look decent for your age. Marina didn't flinch. Thanks, dear. You've held up well, too. Alina approved. The room fell dead silent. Denis paled. What? What, Alina? Marina batted her eyelashes innocently. Alina Petrovskaya, from your department. I invited your whole team to the party. You don't mind, do you? Denis swallowed hard. And no, of course not. Just should have warned me. Oh, honey, sorry, Marina said. I wanted it to be a surprise. By the way, she confirmed she's coming. Even asked what to bring. I told her your presence is the best gift. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Let's go. Wouldn't want to be late for our own anniversary. The car ride was tense. Denis drummed his fingers nervously on the steering wheel while Marina gazed serenely out the window. Marina, he started, about what I said about your age. I didn't mean. I know what you meant, she replied calmly. You always say what you think, especially when you're drunk. Denis flinched. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, dear, just stating a fact. By the way, remember our bachelor and bachelorette parties before the wedding? Denis tensed further. Vaguely. Drank a lot back then. Oh, I know, Marina smiled. A lot. And you talked a lot, too. The restaurant buzzed with festive energy as guests began to arrive. Waiters darted between tables, checking the setup. Marina, Denis. Marina's mother rushed to hug her son-in-law. 10 years, how wonderful. Denis forced a smile, accepting congratulations. Marina noticed him scanning the room, clearly looking for Alina. She's coming at 8. Marina whispered in his ear. Asked her not to be late. Denis jumped. Marina, what are you up to? Nothing special. I just want this evening to be unforgettable for everyone. Guests arrived one by one, relatives, friends, colleagues. The hall filled with voices and laughter. Kromsky appeared, posing as Marina's cousin from Vladivostok. Pleasure to meet you, he said, shaking Denis's hand and staring him down. Denis mumbled something and quickly walked away. Everything ready? Marina asked quietly. Like clockwork, Kromsky replied softly. The operator set up. We're waiting for your signal. At exactly 8, Alina entered, stunning in a tight red dress that left little to the imagination. She hesitated at the entrance, and Marina personally greeted her. Alina, so glad you could make it. She took the girl's arm. Denis talks about you all the time. Says you're an invaluable employee. Alina blushed. Thank you, Mrs. Sokolova. Oh, please call me Marina. After all, you spend so much time with my husband. You're practically family. She led Alina to a table. Sit here next to Denis. It'll be easier to chat. Denis, seeing where Alina was seated, nearly choked on his wine. Maxim, sitting beside him, elbowed him. What's with you? That your secretary or something? Denis coughed. Yeah, from the department. Maxim whistled. Some secretary. Marina's not jealous. Denis threw a panicked glance at his wife, but she was chatting amiably with his mother, as if nothing was amiss. Dinner proceeded, with guests eating, drinking, and toasting the happy couple. Marina smiled, laughed, and responded to congratulations, but Katia, sitting nearby, saw her friend's knuckles whiten as she gripped her glass. Dear friends, the MC tapped the microphone. We have a special moment. The couple has prepared surprises for each other. First, the head of the family, Denis Sokolov. And so he stood, the man she'd loved for 10 years, glass in hand, and spoke those devastating words. But Marina was ready. She'd waited for this moment, planned it. 3 days earlier, Kromsky had delivered a final recording. Denis, in bed with Alina, discussing how he'd humiliate his wife at the anniversary. I'll tell her in front of everyone she's disgusting. Has been since our first night. Let her know, let them all know. Then I'll file for divorce, and no one will judge me. They'll all hear how I've suffered." Alina giggled. "You're so brave, kitten." "And her? What'll she do?" "She'll cry and run off. She's meek, spineless, doesn't suspect a thing." Now, the screen came alive, and the hall filled with the music of their first dance. Marina stood, watching a younger version of herself and Denis waltz. A beautiful couple, happy faces, eyes full of love, or so it seemed. Knowing the truth now, she saw the falseness in his smile, the calculation in his gaze. The camera caught details, Denis looking over her head, moving mechanically through the dance, glancing at his watch. "This is our wedding," Marina's voice narrated calmly, tenderly. "October 4th, 2014. The happiest day of my life, or so I thought." The screen shifted to them cutting the cake, Denis feeding her a piece, reciting vows. "I swear to love and cherish, in sorrow and joy, in wealth and poverty," his young voice echoed. Someone in the room sniffled, likely his mother. But then the image changed. A title appeared, 5 hours later. The screen showed a nightclub, the same one where Denis had his bachelor party, but now he was there post-wedding. The footage was grainy, but the audio was clear. "Den, what are you doing here?" "It's your wedding night." Maxim laughed. "She let me out." Denis, in a rumpled wedding suit, down to shot. Said I needed a grab gift from the car. "Got about 40 minutes. "And you came here?" "Lost your mind." Someone chuckled off-screen. "Screw her." Denis waved a hand. "You know how exhausting it was playing the lovesick groom all day? My cheeks hurt from smiling. But we're set. Her dad's already made me deputy director starting Monday." The room fell deathly silent. Guests stopped chewing, frozen with glasses in hand. Denis's mother paled. Marina's father clenched his fists. The conversation continued. "She's not bad, though, right?" "Pretty," someone asked. "If you turn off the light and pretend she's someone else," Denis laughed. "The funniest part? She actually thinks I love her. Such a naive little fool. Nearly cried with joy when I put the ring on her finger. All I could think about was landing the job and clearing my debts." Alina, at her seat, seemed to shrink, clearly wishing to disappear. Denis stood like a statue, horror etched on his face. The video rolled on. "You can't keep pretending forever," Maxim said on screen. "Who said forever?" Denis hiccuped. "I'll stick it out a year or two, secure my spot in the company. Maybe get a mistress for some fun. She'll stay home, pop out kids, the perfect wife, quiet, obedient, clueless." "Turn it off." Denis suddenly roared, lunging for the screen, but the restaurant security, pre-warned, gently but firmly guided him back. "Mr. Sokolov, please, calm down," a burly guard said politely. "It's your family celebration." The screen flashed a new title, 10 years later. A montage of family life played, birthdays, New Year's, vacations. Sophia taking her first steps, Denis teaching her to ride a bike, family dinners. But alongside, in a parallel reality, other footage rolled. Denis entering a hotel with an unknown woman, kissing someone in a car, dining with another fling. "I didn't want to believe it," Marina's voice narrated wearily. "I explained away late nights, strange calls, the smell of unfamiliar perfume. I told myself it was paranoia, that he loved me, that we had a family. Until 3 months ago, when I saw this." The screen showed a text conversation, enlarged for all to read. "Kitten, I miss you." "Miss you too, baby. That hen's nagging me again. Poor thing, come over. I'll make you feel better. On my way." Told her I've got a meeting. The fool believes everything. Marina's mother covered her face. Her father started to rise, but was held back by his wife. Murmurs spread through the room, some outraged, some sympathetic, some relishing the scandal. The screen shifted to a hotel room. Not explicit, Marina had ensured it stayed tasteful, but damning enough. Denis and Alina on a bed, discussing the future. When are you finally divorcing her? Alina whined. After 10 years, Denis replied. My lawyer says it's better for the courts. I'll get half of everything. Apartment, dacha, accounts. Her dad's gone, so the company's partly mine too. As for the kid, joint custody. I'll see her weekends, max. That's enough. Marina clenched her fists at the mention of Sophia, glad she'd sent her daughter to her parents. No child should see her father's world crumble. Then came the final recording from that morning. Denis, unaware he was being filmed, spoke on the phone. Yeah, Maxim, I'm putting on a show tonight. I'll tell everyone she's disgusting. Has been since our first night. Let them all know the truth. Who cares what people think? I put up with this bland chicken for 10 years. Enough. I'll file for divorce right after. And you know what? I'm glad. Finally rid of this burden. The screen went dark. In the silence, only Denis's heavy breathing and muffled sobs were audible. Marina turned to her husband. Their eyes met, and in hers, he saw not tears or pain, but something worse. Icy contempt and triumph. You knew, he croaked. You knew all along. Marina tilted her head. Not all along, just the last 3 months. But you know what, dear? That was enough to realize you were disgusting to me from our first night. I just loved you too much to admit it. She took the microphone from the stunned MC. Dear guests, I'm sorry for this awkward moment, she said, her voice remarkably steady for a woman publicly humiliated. But since my husband chose to be honest on our anniversary, I think it's only fair to tell the whole truth about how we met, how he courted me, and what happened on our first night. She paused, scanning the room. By the way, Denis, you remember our first night, don't you? Or did the alcohol wipe it all away? Denis flinched as if struck. Marina, stop this circus now. Oh, no, dear, Marina smiled. The show's just beginning. You wanted honesty? Here it is. The screen lit up with footage from a corporate party 10 years ago at Stroy Invest, her father's company. A young Marina in a modest black dress stood by the buffet, chatting with colleagues. This is how we met, Marina narrated. I just returned from London with my MBA. My dad insisted I work at the company, starting from the bottom. I was just a development manager. The screen showed a young Denis, hungry for success, in a cheap but neatly pressed suit. The camera caught him noticing Marina, whispering to a colleague, who nodded, mouthing daughter. Watch closely, Marina continued. Here, he learns who I am. See his face change? That's not love at first sight, dear guests. That's calculation. Indeed, in close-up, Denis's eyes lit up with a mercenary gleam. He adjusted his tie, squared his shoulders, and approached Marina with a glass of champagne. Excuse me, I don't think we've met. Denis Sokolov, sales department, his voice purred. Marina, she replied simply. Just Marina. Denis smiled. Too modest for such a beautiful woman. Marina Vorontsova, she clarified, and he gave a subtle nod, as if confirming intel. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry you have to see this. Marina turned to her parents at a nearby table. Her mother was crying, her father's jaw clenched tight. But you need to know the truth. Everyone does. She nodded to the operator, and the film continued, showing clips of Denis's courtship, flowers at the office, restaurant dates, romantic surprises. He was relentless, Marina commented. Flowers, gifts, compliments every day. I was young, naive. I thought this was real love. Then came other footage, a bar where Denis stopped after a date with Marina. The quality was poor, but the dialogue was clear. How's it going, Casanova? The bartender asked, pouring whiskey. It's going, Denis downed a shot. She's biting, but I've got to play the romantic. Last night, I read poetry for 2 hours. Nearly threw up. Worth it. Hell yeah. Her dad owns half the city's construction market. Marry her and bye-bye poverty. Just gotta hold out till the wedding. She's a good girl, wants to wait. The bartender laughed. And you don't want to wait? I'd rather spend time with Lena from accounting. She knows what guys want. A gasp echoed in the hall, likely Marina's aunt. What a scoundrel, she muttered. Quiet, Vera. Her husband shushed her. Let it play. The screen shifted to their engagement. Restaurant, candles, Denis on one knee with a ring. Marina, marry me. I can't live without you. A tearful young Marina nodded, speechless. Guests applauded. Waiters brought champagne. I was so happy. Marina's voice cracked for the first time that evening. I thought, here's my prince, a man who loves me, not my dad's money. Then came wedding preparations, dress fittings, menu tastings, ring shopping. Intercut with Denis's phone calls. Yeah, Mom, everything's great. No, she's not pregnant, if that's what you're thinking. Just head over heels. Of course I'm signing a prenup. Her dad insists. Yeah, I read it. There's a clause about cheating, but it's no big deal. After 10 years, I get half of everything we built. Don't worry, Mom, don't cry. Marina walked to her table and hugged her sobbing mother. It's over, Mom. I've handled it. How could you keep quiet? Her mother sobbed. Why didn't you tell us? Because I loved him, Mom. I hoped he'd change, that he'd love me for real. She straightened and took the microphone again. But let's get back to our story, to that first night when, according to my husband, I was so disgusting. The screen showed their wedding. Beautiful ceremony, hundreds of guests, flowers everywhere. Marina in a designer gown, Denis in a tux, exchanging rings and vows. Look at his face during the vows, Marina urged. Zoomed in, Denis was looking over her head, mechanically reciting the words, glancing impatiently at his watch. And here's when he thought the camera wasn't on him. Denis turned away from Marina, rolling his eyes in exaggerated boredom. Maxim elbowed him, and Denis quickly plastered on a smile. Now, the best part, Marina paused. Our wedding night. No, don't worry, nothing indecent. Just what happened outside our honeymoon suite. The screen showed hotel hallway footage. Timestamp 2 a.m. Denis slipped out, glancing around, and crept to the elevator. Next, he was at the hotel bar, ordering a double whiskey, pulling out his phone. Hey, Max, it's me. Yeah, I'm fine, she's asleep. How'd it go? Like pulling teeth. Closed my eyes and got through it. Yeah, she's so proper, can't even kiss right like a log in bed. Love? Come on, Max, I told you it's business, pure business. I'm coming, where are you? Casino? On my way. The clip ended with Denis leaving the hotel and getting into a taxi. He came back at dawn, Marina commented, drunk, reeking of cigarettes and someone else's perfume. Said he went out for air, couldn't sleep from happiness. And I believed him. Naive fool, I believed. The silence in the hall was deafening, broken only by the drip of candle wax. Alina sat slumped, her face as pale as the tablecloth. Denis's parents looked as if they'd been hit with a sledgehammer. Denis gripped the back of his chair, his face gray, sweat beading on his forehead. But there's more, Marina nodded to the operator. The screen showed the nightclub casino, Denis at a VIP table with friends and random women, bottles littering the table, cigars smoldering. To the newlywed, someone toasted. May he not die of boredom. Laughter erupted. It's not that bad, Denis slurred, grinning. Marina's a good girl, quiet, obedient, will make a great wife. I'll make money. She'll stay home and cook borscht. He winked at a blonde. Mistresses are sacred. Wife for status, mistress for the soul. That's how our grandpas lived, and it worked. Murmurs rippled through the room. Men shook their heads. Women whispered. Marina's father stood. Marina, honey, enough. We get it. No, Dad. Marina shook her head. Sit down. It's important. Everyone needs to see who you thought was a perfect son-in-law and husband. The old man sat reluctantly, fists still clenched. The video continued, now showing family life from a different angle. Marina is setting the table, lighting candles, 8 p.m., 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. She sat alone, candles burning out. At 11:30, Denis arrived. Sorry, got held up at work? He tossed out, not looking at her. Not hungry, I'll eat in the kitchen, and left, missing the tears in her eyes. Another scene. Marina in a hospital, a doctor saying, "Congratulations, you're 6 weeks pregnant." Her face glowed with joy. She called Denis. "I have amazing news." "No, not over the phone. Come home, please." "Another meeting? But this is important." "Fine, tonight." That evening, she greeted him with a cake that read, "We're going to be parents." Denis looked at the cake, then at her. "Pregnant? Damn, bad timing. I've got a big project, no time for this." Marina's face fell. "I thought you'd be happy." "Happy, sure." Denis waved a hand. "Just not now. And you could have been more careful." "You know what's saddest?" Marina's voice narrated. "I made excuses for him. Told myself he was tired, working hard for our family. That things would change when the baby came." The screen showed the maternity ward. Marina holding newborn Sophia, radiant despite exhaustion. Denis arrived with flowers. "Late?" he asked. "She gave birth 2 hours ago," a nurse replied. "Healthy girl." Denis looked at Sophia. "Well, hi, Sophia," he said without enthusiasm. "Doesn't look like me, all her mom." He pulled out his phone. "Yeah, I'm listening. Now. But I'm at the hospital." "Fine, I'm coming." Someone gasped, likely Denis's mother. "He can't be that heartless," she whispered. "His own child." But the screen showed more. A bachelor party for one of Denis's friends in a sauna. "How's your Marina?" someone asked. "Fine," Denis said, tossing water on the stones. "Raising the kid, running the house. Perfect wife, like I said. She doesn't get jealous? Why would she? I'm careful. Home on time. Don't bring women around. All civilized. Only in lunch breaks or on business trips." Laughter erupted. "Smart guy," someone said. "Wife at home. Mistress in the city." "Yeah, but the mistress is temporary," Denis added. "I'm eyeing a new girl in the department. Alina, her name is. Legs for days." Alina looked like she might faint. Marina smirked. "Don't worry, dear. You're not the first or the last. Before you, there was Oksana from accounting, Irina from legal, Svetlana from PR. I know them all. My detective is very thorough." Denis lunged forward. "Marina, stop it. This is slander. I'll sue." "Go ahead." Marina shrugged. "I have proof, photos, videos, recordings, witness statements. Your buddy Maxim, by the way, got very chatty when he heard his business might face a tax audit." The screen showed a conversation with a lawyer dated a month ago. "I need advice on divorce," Denis said. "Confidentially." "Of course," the unseen lawyer replied. "What's the deal?" "Been married 10 years, well, 10 in October. We have a kid, joint property. She doesn't work. I'm the sole provider." "Got a prenup?" "Yeah, but there's a clause if infidelity's proven. The guilty party gets nothing." "And you want her to be the guilty party? Can that be arranged?" The room erupted. "Scoundrel," someone shouted. Security tensed, ready to step in, but Marina raised a hand for silence. "Wait, you haven't seen it all." The screen showed a hotel room 2 days ago. Denis and Alina in bed. "You know what I'll say at the anniversary?" Denis said, stroking her hair. "I'll tell everyone she's disgusting. Has been since our first night." Alina giggled. "You're so brave." "And her? She'll cry and run off. She's soft, fragile, won't handle public humiliation. The guests will back me up in court, say I've been miserable. Perfect plan." "Perfect plan," Marina echoed, staring at her husband. "Only you forgot one thing, dear. I was soft and fragile 10 years ago, but 10 years with you taught me a lot. Like patience, silence, waiting, smiling through pain." She approached his table. You know when I knew our marriage was a sham? Last year, when Sophia had pneumonia, temperature near 104. The doctors said critical condition. Dennis flinched but said nothing. I called you, begged you to come. And what did you say? Important investor meeting. Were you really? She snapped her fingers, and the screen showed a bowling alley, a company event. Dennis was knocking down strikes and flirting with waitresses while his daughter fought for her life. Marina's mother sobbed loudly. Her father hugged her, his glare at Dennis promising trouble. That's when I knew, Marina continued. You're not just a bad husband. You're a bad father, and that I can't forgive. She turned to the guests. Dear friends, I'm sorry for ruining your evening, but I wanted the truth out here with witnesses so no one thinks I'm slandering an innocent man. You've seen it with your own eyes. She raised her glass. A toast to a new life, to freedom from lies, to every woman valuing herself and not letting anyone walk over her, to truth no matter how bitter. Guests hesitantly raised their glasses, many still in shock. Wait, Marina lowered hers. I'm not done. What you've seen is just the tip of the iceberg. 10 years is 3,650 days, and nearly every one was filled with lies. She nodded to the operator. Continue. Chapter 3, Chronicle of a Deception. The screen flashed a new title, and Denis, heading for the exit, froze. What? You made a movie about our entire life? He croaked. Not the whole thing, Marina said, sitting in a chair placed before the screen. Just the highlights. Take a seat, dear. This concerns you too. The screen showed their second anniversary. A cozy restaurant, candles, Marina in an elegant dress, handing Denis a gift. Expensive Swiss watches. The brand you wanted, she narrated. Denis unwrapped the box, his face showing disappointment. Thanks, he said flatly, setting it aside. What did you get me? Marina asked on screen, hope in her voice. Denis pulled a crumpled envelope from his pocket. Here, inside was a certificate for cooking classes. So you can cook better, he said, eyes on his phone. Marina's face flickered with pain, but she forced a smile. Thanks, honey. Very practical. Know how much those watches cost? Marina addressed the room. 300,000 rubles. I saved for 6 months. He sold them a week later. I found out by chance when I saw them in a pawn shop. A gasp rose from the crowd. And that wasn't the only time, she continued. The screen showed a series of incidents. Marina gifting Denis a tablet, only to find a receipt for its sale. Buying him a membership to an elite gym, which he cashed in, planning a romantic Paris trip, which he canceled for work, then went to Thailand with a mistress. But you know what hurt most? Marina's voice trembled. Not the gifts, not the money, but how he lied to our daughter. The screen showed a 4-year-old Sophia by a window. Mommy, will Daddy come to my school play? Of course, sweetheart, Marina said, stroking her head. He promised. The next scene, a kindergarten auditorium, Sophia in a snowflake costume, scanning the crowd for her father. Marina sat in the front row with a camera, an empty chair beside her. Sophia performed, eyes wet with tears. Afterward, she ran to her mother. Daddy didn't come. He got held up at work, honey. He's always held up. Sophia buried her face in her mother's shoulder. And where was Daddy really? Marina snapped her fingers. The screen showed a bowling alley corporate event, Denis with a red head knocking down strikes, timestamped during Sophia's performance. I still believed him then, Marina said. I comforted Sophia, made excuses, said, Daddy's busy, he's working for us. And then Sophia asked, Mom, maybe Daddy just doesn't love us? What was I supposed to say? Denis's mother sobbed. My Soph, my granddaughter. His father stood. Son, is this true? You skipped your daughter's school plays. Denis snapped. What do you know? I had work, a career, I was earning money. Money. Marina's father scoffed. What money, Dennis? You had a deputy director's salary at my company. Decent, but not millions. And where did it go? To the family, or to this? The screen displayed receipts and bank statements. Restaurants, jewelry stores, boutiques. Diamond earrings, 150,000 rubles. For you, Marina. She shook her head. Cartier bracelet, 200,000. Not for you either. Maldives trip for 500,000. While you and Sophia were at your parents in Anapa. Where'd it all come from, Denis? He paled. You went through my stuff? No, dear, Marina smiled. I just asked our accountant to check the corporate cards. You logged many purchases as business expenses. Very clever. The company paid for your mistress's gifts. Her father stood, face red with fury. So that's where the company's money went. We thought it was client lunches. Technically, they were client lunches, Marina shrugged. Just with 20-year-old models from escort agencies. The screen showed Marina's 30th birthday, 7 years ago. The house decorated with balloons, a festive table set. Where's Daddy? Sophia asked. He'll be here soon, Marina replied, hope fading. Hours passed. Guests shifted awkwardly. Marina cut the cake alone. At 11 p.m., Denis stumbled in, drunk, lipstick on his collar. Happy birthday, he mumbled, handing her a wilted rose from a gas station. Sorry, meeting ran late. Marina took the rose silently. Sophia waited for you, she cried. Wake her up then, Denis said, heading to the fridge. Got anything to eat? I didn't wake her, Marina narrated. Why traumatize her with a drunken father? But you know what I found the next day? A social media photo appeared. Denis in a nightclub with two blondes, captioned, celebrating our boss's promotion. Dated her birthday. A promotion my father arranged, Marina added, which Denis celebrated with everyone but his wife. It wasn't a one-time thing, she continued. The screen showed a chronicle of missed holidays, forgotten anniversaries, ignored family events. Sophia's first day of school, Denis fishing with friends. Marina's MBA graduation, Denis on a business trip that was actually a fling in Sochi. Her parents' golden anniversary, Denis sick but spotted at a casino. Remember our 5th anniversary? Marina turned to Denis. I planned a trip to Venice, dreamed of a gondola ride like in the movies. Booked the hotel, bought tickets. And what did you do? The screen showed a phone call. Marina, there's an emergency. Chinese clients, big contract. Go alone or with a friend, I'll pay. But Denis, it's our anniversary. So what? We'll celebrate later. You're not a kid to get upset. The next clip, Marina alone in a Venetian gondola, a sad smile on her face. Parallel footage, Denis in a Moscow restaurant with a Chinese delegation and a leggy translator on his lap. Speaking of the Chinese, Marina snapped her fingers. Remember that big 50 million ruble contract you supposedly closed? Several company employees in the room nodded. Well, I checked. The contract was real, but Petrov from the next apartment signed it. Denis just took credit. The screen showed documents, reports, presentations, authored by Elena Krylova, Mikhail Zaitsev, Olga Petrenko. Then Denis at meetings, pitching his ideas, collecting bonuses and praise. He didn't just steal money. Marina's voice hardened. He stole others' work, ideas, achievements. How many talented employees did he push out, claiming their projects? Murmurs grew. That's why I was fired, someone exclaimed. He said my idea flopped, then used it. Me too, another voice added. Denis tried to protest, but his father cut him off. Denis, is this true? You stole ideas? Dad, it's business, Denis snapped. Survival of the fittest. Fittest, his father shook his head. A strong man achieves on his own. You're just a thief, a petty thief in an expensive suit. His mother cried. How could you? We raised you to be honest. Honest. Denis laughed hysterically. You told me to marry for profit. Think of benefits. Don't blame your parents, Marina interjected. They wanted the best for you. They were thrilled when you married a wealthy man's daughter, but they genuinely believed you loved me. I heard your mom tell her friends, my Denis is so in love, can't take his eyes off his bride. She turned to her mother-in-law. I'm sorry, Anna Petrovna. You're not to blame. You were his victim too. The older woman nodded through tears. The screen showed Christmas 5 years ago. Marina and Sophia decorating a tree, baking cookies, wrapping gifts. What do we get, Daddy? Sophia asked. Daddy? Marina hesitated. Let's make him a card. Sophia carefully wrote, to Daddy from Sonia, I love you. That evening, the family gathered by the tree. Sophia handed Denis the card. Daddy, I made this. He glanced at it. Thanks, he said, setting it aside. Daddy, do you like it? Sophia looked up at him. What? Oh, yeah, very nice, he said, already typing on his phone. Marina saw the light fade from her daughter's eyes. That card's still in his office, an employee suddenly said. In the trash. I saw it last week when I brought a report. Sophia, who'd stayed in the hall, hiding behind a column, sobbed. Marina rushed to her. Sweetheart, why are you here? I told you to go to Grandma's. I wanted to see your party. The girl cried, burying her face in her mother's shoulder. Mommy, does Daddy really not love us? Marina hugged her tightly. It's not your fault, honey. Some people don't know how to love. Sophia, Denis tried to approach, but she hid behind her mother. Don't come near. You're bad. You're a liar. I don't want you to be my daddy anymore. Those words seemed to break something in Denis. He sank into a chair, hands covering his face. Here are the papers. Marina pointed to the documents. Sign them. Sophie is tired. She needs to go home. Denis looked up, eyes red. What about visitation? The court will decide, the lawyer interjected. Given the circumstances and the child's wishes, visits will likely be limited and supervised. Supervised? Denis croaked. You systematically neglected your parental duties, Kronsky explained. Plus, the psychological harm to the child. The court will prioritize her well-being. Denis took the pen with a trembling hand. Marina, one last time. Let's start over. Start over. She shook her head. We're both over 35, Denis. There's no time for starting over. Sign. As he bent over the papers, the screen showed final clips. Marina and Sophia at a playground, laughing, swinging. Marina at a laptop, working on a project. Marina at a job interview, confident professional, accepting an offer and hugging Sophia. These past 3 months, Marina explained, while preparing for tonight, I was building a new life. I got a job, director of development at an international company. Sophie is enrolled in a great school near our new home. Yes, we're moving. Denis flinched. Where? None of your business. But not far, so Sophia can see her grandparents. And you, if the court allows and you behave. Denis signed the last page and tossed the pen. Happy? You destroyed our family. Destroyed? Marina took the papers. Denis, there was no family. Just an illusion I kept alive alone while you fed off my love. She handed the documents to the lawyer. Igor Valentinovich, please take care of it. The sooner, the better. Of course, Marina Sergeyevna, he said. With mutual consent and a prenup, it'll take a month at most. A month, Denis echoed. 10 years and a month to divorce. Funny, isn't it? Marina said. Takes years to build, minutes to break. She turned to the guests. Dear friends, sorry for spoiling the evening. The formal part is over. Stay and enjoy dinner. It's paid for. Or leave. Thank you for being here for this difficult moment. Guests whispered, some leaving quickly, others offering Marina words of support. Her parents hugged her. Her mother-in-law wept into a handkerchief. Her father-in-law stared blankly. Marina, he said finally, we're sorry. We didn't know. I know, Pyotr Andreevich. Marina approached them. You're not to blame, and you'll always be welcome in our home. Sophia loves you. You're her grandparents. That won't change. And him, her mother-in-law gestured to Denis, staring into space. That's his choice, Marina shrugged. He's a grown man. Let him figure it out. She took Sophia's hand. Let's go, sweetheart. Time to go home. Mommy, just the two of us now? Sophia asked. Yes, honey, but that's okay. We'll manage, right? Sophia nodded. Right, Mommy. Can I get a dog? Daddy never let me. Marina smiled, genuinely for the first time that evening. Of course. Tomorrow, we'll go to the shelter and pick one out. They headed for the exit, but a familiar voice called out. Marina Sergeyevna, may I escort you to the car? Kromsky stood at the door, holding her coat. It's late, you never know. Marina raised an eyebrow, but nodded. Thank you, Vladimir. That's very kind. He helped her into her coat, his hands lingering briefly on her shoulders. You were magnificent tonight, he said softly. Not every woman has that kind of strength. Marina blushed. I just did what I should have done long ago. Exactly. That takes real strength. He opened the door. Uncle Volodya is coming with us. Sophia looked at the detective curiously. Uncle Volodya is walking us to the car, Marina explained. He's a good friend. Very good friend? Sophia pressed. Kromsky knelt before her. I try to be, Sophia. Your mom deserves only good friends. The girl pondered. Do you play chess? Daddy didn't. I do, Kromsky smiled. And I'd love to teach you, if your mom's okay with it. Sophia turned to Marina. Mom, can he? Marina glanced at the detective, then her daughter. We'll see, sweetheart. Let's settle into our new place first. They stepped outside to a waiting car. Kromsky helped Sophia in, then turned to Marina. If you need anything, any help, you have my number. Thank you, Vladimir. She shook his hand. For everything. I couldn't have done it without you. He held her hand a moment longer. You would have managed. You're stronger than you think. But I'm glad I could help. He helped her into the car. Good luck at your new job. They're getting a real gem. Marina blushed. You're too kind. Not at all. He closed the door. Take care of yourself and Sophia. See you. The car pulled away, and Marina looked back at the restaurant one last time. In the lit windows, she saw silhouettes of guests, the bustle of waiters. Somewhere in there was her ex-husband, the man she'd given 10 years of her life. But strangely, she felt no sadness, only relief. Mommy, are you crying? Sophia noticed tears on her cheeks. No, sweetheart. Marina wiped her eyes. These are happy tears. We're free. Free's good. Very good. Marina hugged her daughter. It means we can live how we want. No lies, no pretending. And with a dog? And with a dog, Marina laughed. Passing a park, she caught her reflection in the window, a tired but peaceful face of a woman who'd shed an unbearable burden. You know, Sophia, she said thoughtfully, sometimes an ending isn't bad. Sometimes it's a new beginning, like in fairy tales. Yeah, like in fairy tales, Sophia agreed. But this is our fairy tale, and we decide the ending. Sophia snuggled closer. Let be happy. It will be, Marina promised, gazing at the night city. It will. 3 months later, a sunny Saturday morning, Marina sat on the terrace of her new home with a coffee and laptop. Beside her lay a big, ginger mutt, a Labrador mixed Sophia named Red. On the laptop screen were work emails, charts, presentations. Her new role as director of development demanded full commitment, but Marina savored every minute, doing what she loved and earning well for it. Mom, look! Sophia ran out, Red trailing her. He learned to give a paw. She demonstrated, and Marina clapped. Great job, both of you. Is Uncle Volodya coming today? Sophia asked. He promised to teach me chess. After lunch, Marina smiled. But homework first, deal? Deal. Sophia darted back inside, Red trotting after. Her phone buzzed. A message from Katia. How you holding up? Saw Denis yesterday. Looks awful. Marina typed back. I'm fine. Whatever's up with him isn't my concern. Another message. Heard he got fired from another job. And Alina dumped him. Marina shook her head and put the phone away. Denis was the past, and she wasn't dragging it into her present. A doorbell interrupted her thoughts. I'll get it, Sophia shouted. Moments later, Vladimir Kromsky stepped onto the terrace, chessboard under his arm, a bouquet of wildflowers in hand. Good morning. He offered the flowers a bit shyly. For you and Sophia. He pulled a chocolate bar from his pocket. Can I? Marina nodded. Thanks. Coffee. Love some. They sat on the terrace while Sophia set up the chessboard inside. How's the new job? Vladimir asked. Challenging but exciting. Marina sipped her coffee. For the first time in years, I feel in my element. You were always in your element, he said softly, just with the wrong person beside you. Their eyes met, and Marina felt a flutter she hadn't known in ages. Vladimir, I know. He covered her hand with his. Too soon, I get it. Just know I'm not rushing anywhere. Uncle Volodya. Sophia poked her head out. Chess is ready. Coming champ. Vladimir stood. Join us, Marina. In a minute, she said. Just need to send a couple emails. She watched him head to the house where her daughter waited, smiling. Yes, it was too early for new relationships. Yes, she needed to heal, to learn to trust again. But for the first time in years, she had hope, not for a fairy tale prince to solve her problems, but for her own ability to build the life she wanted. With her daughter, her work, her friends, and maybe, someday, a man who'd truly value her. She finished her coffee and went inside, where her new life awaited, honest, real, hers. And that was beautiful. Thank you for listening to the story until the end. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and loved ones. It motivates us to keep working on new stories every day. Don't miss the next amazing story that's about to appear on your screen. We're very grateful to have you with us. See you soon.